Okay. Something just happened, and it is making me realize there's two types of people in this world. Person A is someone who would never dare let a neighbor, a stranger, someone see them not at least moderately put together. And then there's person B, like myself, who doesn't think anything of it, answers the door with the FedEx driver while brushing my teeth with my electric toothbrush still on, signs for the package, then turns the electric toothbrush off to mumble with toothpaste in my mouth, "Thank you, have a nice day." All the while, I have a big blob of white toothpaste on the front of my shirt. He was totally unfazed, so my guess is he's seen his share of shit around here, which I would love to interview him and find out what kind of nonsense he sees when people come to the door. Then I went upstairs to spit out the remaining toothpaste and see the blob on the front of my shirt, and I went, "Damn, girl, you're sexy." Which one are you? New special mini-series. This is part 1, where I will be unveiling my unconventional money hacks that have helped me bank millions of dollars. Now, keep in mind, I started out making $17,000 a year as a TV journalist. So what I'm sharing with you can be applied to any income level. Yes, even if you're in debt. Part 1, we are breaking down the mental money hacking that needs to be done daily for anything else I teach you in this 4-part series to work. The difference between making easy money and hard money, it all starts from your mindset around abundance. If you don't allow yourself to sink into the belief that it is truly possible for you to create the lifestyle and income you desire, it will not happen. But that feels so out of reach when you're on the money struggle bus, and maybe you don't even know anyone in your life who isn't on that struggle bus. So if you don't have the belief that it is without a doubt possible for you, no matter your current circumstances or your upbringing, then why would you ever feel consistently and persistently motivated to take action towards making it a reality? You have to mind hack your wiring, your long-term programming, and I'm going to teach you how to do that for yourself in this episode. If you're tired of hearing the same old basic mindset and motivational fluff talk, you've come to the right show. Welcome to Project Me with Tiffany Carter, the podcast, where we dish on everything from managing that crazy brain of yours to manifesting abundance to my straightforward, actionable steps that will make you major money online. Now, I'm not your typical multimillionaire entrepreneur. It takes a small village to keep my anxiety and depression in check. I'm inherently disorganized with an intense obsession with office supplies. Your girl here is a digital marketing content expert who's generated over $200 million in sales. I promise by tuning in twice a week, you will get a much needed refreshing dose of truth, clarity, and cash making advice. Now let's get to it. Before we get into the juice here, the reason why people aren't buying more from you isn't because you suck, isn't because you're not as confident, isn't because you're not as pretty, isn't because you don't have enough testimonials, isn't because you don't have 500 certifications or you're not on the cover of a magazine or the algorithm hates you. It's because you haven't learned how to package and present your offers to clearly communicate their value to your ideal client. Without knowing how to market your business, you won't have a business. You'll have a jobby, a time and energy sucking hobby. We aren't available for that life, are we? Together, I will take you from being scared to sell to confidently cashing in on your dreams. You will no longer be left trying to figure out, what do I need to say? How often do I need to say it? Do I put this in an email? Do I put this in Instagram stories? Where do I package this? How often do I tell the people so I don't annoy my audience? How do I price my stuff? What do I name it? How long should it be? What should it include? How many offers should I have? And then your brain is just spinning into overwhelm and you don't know where to start. You short circuit and it's like a phone that you've left out in the sun at the beach. It overheats. And what does technology do when it starts getting too hot? Whether it's a car, your laptop, or your phone, it shuts down. And then you feel stuck and then you don't move ahead, or maybe you take 3 steps ahead, but you're taking 5 steps back, that is all ending now, as long as you come join me when Selling with Soul. This is my signature 5-week live group coaching program that I only offer once a year. It is a brilliant combination of strategic step-by-step modules and workbooks. I cut out all the fluff because we don't have a bunch of excess time just to be learning more shit. I teach you the straightforward, actionable, profitable steps. Then you get that information. We show up live together and we work on it and customize it for your unique personality, your ideal client, your offers, and your business. The enrollment is only going to be open for a little bit longer. We are officially open to the public. Before, it was just open to the people who were my make bankers. Now it's open to everyone. You can get in at $1,000 off and start for as low as $377. So there's different payment plans as well. Go to ProjectMeWithTiffany.com/selling with soul. The link is right inside the show notes. You can swipe up and get it there. The link is also inside my bio on Instagram at ProjectMeWithTiffany. Don't hesitate. Get the details, get the student reviews, all the goods. And let me just read this to you. If you're like, I've seen this, Tiffany. I've seen your stuff. I've been wanting to do it. I know you don't offer it again until next year. It's only once a year. I want my business popping with cash and clients. I want to feel really good by summer. And I know I want to do this, but I'm like, I've already paid for another program. Still haven't paid off this other coach I hired. Should I really be doing another thing? I didn't really follow through on the last thing. Let me tell you something. You lose twice if you don't keep going forward. Not everything's going to pay off that we do. Maybe we were in a bad spot at that time. Maybe we were in a rut. Maybe we were procrastinating. Maybe it didn't resonate with you. Maybe you bought into the fantasy marketing and it was not really a good program or a good fit. But you can see what even the early adopter students who signed up right away, because you get access to the first 2 modules and all the amazing bonuses when you sign up right away. You don't have to wait until our live training to start getting results. Here's what some of them are saying. Tiff, just finished module 2. My mind is blown. Seriously, Selling with Soul is the best program I've ever done, and I just started. Going to let my biz friends know that they have to get in here. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Here's more. So excited to get started. Already printing the workbooks. Sonia says, just started and module 1 is wow. Daniela says, yay, so excited to be on this journey with all these amazing women. I already feel so comfortable and supported in here. Congratulations, everyone. Okay, so go look at the damn page. ProjectMeWithTiffany.com/selling with soul. I can't wait to see you in there. All right. Get ready for your mind to be blown in part 1 of Money Hacking for Multi-Passionate Business Owners. You've probably heard the expression, you've got to spend money to make money. This phrase messes with so many people's minds because they choose to have this phrase be confirmation bias that they will never be financially successful. Since they don't currently see themselves as having any money or receiving any money anytime soon, so how could they ever get ahead? So you've likely had this thought when you've seen rich people getting richer, or you've watched people on Instagram where they're like, I'm now investing in a $20,000 mastermind and I'm spending all this money on ads. And it's like, well, see, those people have money and then that money is making more money. You may have heard one of your parents say that growing up, or an uncle grumbling that when they saw someone buy another piece of property nearby. And what that ends up doing is it's like, oh, okay, well, since I don't have this excess wealth to dump into something, and since I don't have the riches already, and I don't really see it on the horizon, then therefore this is never going to be possible for me. I had the same thoughts until one day I was covering a news story of this local farmer who was dirt poor. And yes, one of my first TV reporting jobs was in wine country in Washington state. So I definitely had to do, they call them like the ag beat, like agriculture. So people grew hops, grapes, stuff like that. I'm sure there were other things, but it certainly wasn't like I was just interested in like tasting the wine. Let's be honest. Anyway, so I was covering this local news story with this farmer who was dirt poor. And now he was selling his farm for something crazy, like $40 million. And I asked him, how did you grow this? Like literally, how did you grow this out of basically nothing? And he said, well, I didn't start with nothing. I did have a half an acre of raw land. And I said, okay. And he said, I knew if I tended to that land like it was 300 acres, it would grow. So he already saw himself as abundant with what he had to work with at the time, which was this mangled, small plot of land that even calling it a plot was a stretch, that had weeds. The soil wasn't tended to. It wasn't like he had a 0.25 carat of a pure diamond. He had some chip of a cloudy, low quality diamond to work with. And he saw that as abundant anyway. So he used the money from those crops from that tiny plot of land where he had to really tend to that soil and make that soil as good as possible and work that tiny plot of land. Then he used the money from selling those crops, which is limited. You can only grow so many on there, right? And he slowly added an acre, and then 3, and then 15, and then 35, and so on. And I started that day to look at what I currently had as precious and prosperous land and how I could make it grow no matter how slowly. And my millionaire status really started that day. And I want you to allow today to be your millionaire start. And even if you're not like aspiring to be a millionaire, listen, anyone who tells me they wouldn't want to have millions in the bank, you're full of shit. It's because you have resistance to it because you don't think it's possible. So you don't want to want something you don't think is possible or that seems so far-fetched and no one in your family or your lineage or in your culture or whatnot has ever had it. So therefore it's easier to just not want it because you don't believe it's possible. It's selfish to not want it because with that money, you can fuel beautiful things. I can build more safe houses for women and children who've been sex trafficked. You can help build schools. You can help purify water in countries where the water's terrible. You can give to your church. You can create beautiful legacy for your children and their grandchildren. You can have an incredible vacation house or even 2 that creates these amazing memories for your family where everyone comes together in the winter in this cool, beautiful luxury log cabin and sits around the fire. And then for generations, people keep coming back there, just like you see in the movies. You can create that stuff for yourself. And in the summers, you're on the lake and everyone's water skiing and enjoying wine, watching the sunset. It's that you don't want to want something. You don't want to want the $1 million launches. You don't want to want having a full client book. You don't want to want having to work so much less where you've designed your company around your lifestyle, meaning it's working for you. It's adding to your life, not depleting and pulling and taking from your life. When people come to work with me privately or in any of my programs or my mastermind, it is imperative that these people, and you're listening, you're one of them, that you want to have a life more than you want to have a business. I want you to want your business and help the people and do the things and be passionate and willing to show up and go through the hard times. But I'm more interested in what you're going to do with your life. You want time back so that you can go take your kids on a trip, or you can go volunteer at the camp, or you can hire a chef to cook the meals because you hate being a mommy line cook in your house, or that you simply want to work on some passion projects and not have to worry about monetizing everything all the time. Whatever it is for you, I want to know what that is, because then we reverse engineer your business and your programs and your modeling on how you're bringing in money around that. Because if you're constantly feeling pulled and drained and heaviness on growing your business, it's not sustainable. You're going to quit. And that's why I just saw something from Tony Robbins. He's doing some ad campaign, and it's something like 80% of businesses fail in the first year. And then it's something crazy like 98% in the first 5 years. And it's not because you don't have what it takes. It's not because you're an idiot. It's not because you didn't go to Harvard. It's not because you didn't have a good idea. It's because people quit. And there's one guaranteed way that you're going to fail, and that's to quitting. But it starts with the mind first. So I want you, with this mindset hack, look at what you currently have. And if you're like, Tiffany, I'm in debt. Okay. Well, you're not only in debt because somehow you're paying your bills, and you can't pay something that doesn't exist. So there's some abundance coming in. And don't just look at money like the paper money. I want you to look at, do you have an amazing couch that you love and it feels so good to take a nap on? Do you have a newer iPhone? What other areas of abundance? Do you have like a couple family members that aren't totally fucked up and crazy that you actually enjoy spending time with? You're more abundant than me. If we want to play that game, I'll play that game with you. I would look at you as massively abundant if you have that, because I don't have any of that. I don't have one single family member, literally. I would be absolutely in awe of you, and that's brilliant because money can't buy that. You're very abundant. Do you have sound mind, at least on most days? Are you creative? Are you someone who is an empath and really cares and feels for people? Are you someone who loves mentoring people? Do you have a really big desire and quest to keep learning and get better and better at your craft? Those are all areas of abundance. So you want to take what you have to work with and sow that land, and that's what will grow. But if you're currently positioning your mind where all I have is some ratty, dry, rock-filled piece of land and nothing's going to grow from this, and what am I going to do with this? And look at Joe over there who has crops for miles, and he's won all these awards for his, grapes or whatever. And how could I even compete with that? Because there's always room for more. And Joe inherited it from great grandpa. So you can't compete with someone having time. You can't, of course, you're not going to be able to, you can't buy time. You can't get time back either. That's why I always say to people, don't be hemming and hawing about stuff that you're leaning into that's going to get you ahead because of struggles or failures or flops and things that haven't worked in the past. You're just losing and wasting more time. Instead, lean in, trust that. If you are feeling leaned in to learning my ways, then lean into selling with soul. You have to look at what would it cost you to not lean in? What would it cost you to not lean in and put more time, heart, and energy into your business? Or do that thing or launch that thing that's been on your mind, but you're kind of scared to do. You're going to waste a lot more time obsessing over it, over analyzing it, thinking about it, longing for it, wishing for it, rather than just doing the damn thing. So I want you to work with what you've got. So let's look at this example. As a starting TV journalist, I made like nothing. I think I actually started at like $15,500. And you could go, well, that's not very abundant. Okay, but I changed, and I did look at it like that. I was like, I'm never going to get ahead. This is crazy. And I, after that day, started seeing, okay, wait a second. I went to a great college. Shout out Emerson Mafia. I went to a great college. I put time, heart, and effort into my craft of learning to be a broadcaster and a communicator and a teacher. I did all these unpaid internships, which apparently a lot of people aren't interested in doing anymore, which is wild to me. And I had a gift. Was I the most talented? No. Did I still have a lot to learn? Yes. Did I make a lot of mistakes? Yes. Were a lot of them live on air? Yes. But I had that plot of land within me, and I had the will, and I had the passion, and I had the desire, and I had a great news director who was great at like teaching us, and I had all of that. I was able to afford my daily coffee at these cute little kiosks in Washington State. I don't know if they're just in Central Washington, but like literally they're enough to fit one person and a little barista bar, and you drive up, and each of them is unique and different, and they're all decorated different. They're so freaking cute. DM me on Instagram if you know what I'm talking about. I would love to have one of these in LA. It'd probably be like $1 million to have one in LA, but nonetheless. And I could afford that every morning. I was getting paid by the station. They paid for my hair and my nails, which was very exciting. They didn't pay for my makeup, but I was focusing on what abundance I did have. So I want you to really use it in your notes app and your phone, Post-it notes, whatever, on a whiteboard. What do you have? What land do you have to work with today? Because when we focus on what we have and then work what we have, improve what we have, relish in what we have, it will grow. But if we're only focusing on what they have and we don't, what we wish we had and we don't, what we're resentful that we don't have, but your brother has it and you don't, what we perceive other people to have, notice I said perceive or assume, and we don't, you're always in a state of lacking. You're always behind. Why would you have the motivation and the energy and the desire and the commitment and passion to keep working and improving and tending to what you already have? Because that state of lack, that state of scarcity pulls your energy, pulls your creative bandwidth, pulls you in all down. And that's not going to work. We've got to flip it up. And it starts here. None of these other 4 parts or 3 parts, I can do math, I swear, of this series, none of the stuff I'm teaching you, these money hacks, will work if you don't do this part. And I want you to put everything. Don't just put stuff that's material and money. I want you to put that too. Maybe you have a great church that you go to and you feel really a part of. I would put on there my 12-step program that I'm in for adult children of alcoholics and dysfunctional families. I have a great support group there. I would put the abundance of being an intuitive and choosing to have worked that manifestation abundance muscle and training and education over the years, where that's something special that I have. That doesn't mean other people don't have it too. And there's probably other people that might even be more advanced than me. But I'm focused on what I have and what I have to work with. Maybe you have an incredible partner. Maybe you have incredible kids. People who keep trying and trying to have kids. There's a lady in my yoga class I think she's on her 7th round of IVF, of fertility treatments. She would look at you with having 1 kid, 2 kids, 3 kids. I have a client that has 6 kids. God bless you. As the most abundant person in the world. So start there. And even if you're like, I don't really want to write it down, Tiffany, I'm on the treadmill, I'm walking, I'm multitasking, I'm driving, then I want you to think about it. But I would rather it be written down somewhere where you can see it every day and remind yourself and add to that list as you walk by anything. Maybe you have some beautiful plants in your house. Maybe you get a compliment from somebody and they say, you know what, you are such a great listener. Or there's a lady in one of my support meetings. Anytime she walks in, she's just delightful. And she doesn't realize she is. And I'm going to reach out to her later today. I've said something to her before, but I feel compelled. And I'm going to reach out to her later today and tell her, anytime you walk in the room, no matter what your mood is, you make me smile because you always have something to say that makes me laugh. You're so relatable, and your genuine honesty is just makes my heart smile. That's abundant. How you make other people feel is also abundant. Take that in. Maybe you've done a lot in your health journey and you have extra energy now. And maybe you're like, Tiffany, I feel bankrupt in all areas of my life. Well, then we got to get tending to that soil, sweetie. And I've been there. If you're new to me, you need to go back. And I probably owe you guys a full episode on sharing more of my story. That would be like a fucking multi-part movie. But I wasn't supposed to be here. I went to off myself 8.5 years ago. And there was another period in this last 8.5 years, and I've shared it on an episode or two, where I went to go walk in the ocean, and it wasn't that long ago. So I've had those periods. I'm diagnosed with depression, anxiety, and complex PTSD, and I'm medicated, and I'm highly treated by multiple avenues, okay? I know what it feels like to be bankrupt in every area, but that's a feeling. That's not a fact. It's not true. But if we sit in that feeling and sink in that feeling and just keep focusing on the rocks and the debris and the dryness and the crappy quality of that soil, do you think it will ever change? No. Because why would we have any energy to do anything about it? The job would seem too big. The job would be too expensive. It would be too much hard work. We wouldn't be able to see the light at the end of the tunnel. But instead, if we hack our mind to go, okay, I see what I'm working with here, and this just needs heavy TLC. What's first step, right? We've got to lift up all this soil. We've got to get rid of a lot of these rocks. We've got to water it. We've got to put some nutrients in it. We've got to put some love in it. And we can start at one section at a time. Just start at one section at a time and tend to it, because it's possible for any soil to be turned around. And it's possible for any circumstance or situation in your life or current psychological makeup or where you're at. It's possible for that to be turned around, but only if you believe it's possible and you see it will you have the motivation, drive, determination, creativity, and wherewithal to actually put in the effort to do it. Go tend to your soil, and you'll see what happens as a result in your bank account, your business, your relationships, your life. This is part 1 of money hacking for multi-passionate business owners. If you love this episode, share it with someone, let them know about the series. I would love it, as we're leading up to our 500th episode, for you to leave a written podcast review on Apple Podcasts. Put your name or Instagram handle in the review. And if you send me a screenshot of that review in my DMs on Instagram at ProjectME with Tiffany, I'm going to treat you to something special. If you don't want anything in return from me, which a lot of people don't, they just want to do it out of the goodness and abundance of their heart, that's fine too. But I would love it if you could at least put your first name so I can acknowledge you and shout you out. This is what helps the show grow. And this is how we pass that abundance forward. And remember, selling with soul, only time this year. You're getting $1,000 off plus over $1,800 in incredible bonuses. But really what matters most is you are finally setting yourself up to get the results you want in a straightforward, simple manner with the support that you need, all before summer. ProjectMeWithTiffany.com/selling with soul. You can swipe up. It's in the show notes. Go there. Check it out. Wishing you great health, wealth, and worth as always. Love you. If you enjoyed this podcast, please write a 5-star review on iTunes. Not only will this make me super happy, but it will allow more listeners to find our special show. Simply help me help others.